Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Patreon Live. Really excited to be here with you guys. Obviously, this went out quite last minute. Sorry about the quality. It's dark in here, and it just started raining, so I closed the door, as it were. As I was saying, I put this out really quite last minute because it's been a bit up in the air as to when Anna is coming back home. So I had it in my mind that I wanted to do an extra live session for all Patreons as soon as possible. I just needed to obviously look at our diaries to make sure it worked. So she is not coming home tonight, hence I'm here talking with you. So hello, she's coming home tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, which is really exciting. It's been a very, very long time. Always felt like a very long time. It's felt like a very challenging time in more ways than I could have anticipated. I look dead and exhausted because I feel a little bit like that. But actually, I'm also doing okay. And the reason why I wanted to jump on this live session today is to sort of talk about a few things. So obviously, many of you guys know that the higher tiers, so it's Maple, so it's £10 euros $10 a month, and then you get access to the live sessions. So I do these live sessions every month with people in Maple and above. We do giveaways, we do Q&As and blah, 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 all sorts of different things. This is a little bit different to that, but I do want to say, those of you guys who, I'm very handy today, handy hands. Those of you guys who have tuned in to this month's Patreon live session, which has already run through, I am going to be repeating myself. Basically, what I wanted to do with today's session is to, first of all, just bring you all a little bit up to speed with Patreon, my intentions, my thoughts and feelings about Patreon, where we're up to at the moment, and to ask for your creative input, because I have a rather big project on the horizon. And, I've wanted to put together a little video for you guys anyway to sort of ask for your input with this project, you guys being Patreons. But basically, I haven't had 2 minutes to film a film. So I've decided if I do a live session, then this can be watched in all time zones at any point in time. It saves me having to go outside, set up the camera, yada, 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 and figure out a script. So I can just blabber on as normal, just for 20 minutes or so. And then hopefully this can be watched live and later. And then in the comment section on Patreon, once this is all recorded and done and dusted, a place for us to bounce ideas backwards and forwards. It's quite nice though, seeing the conversation on the side and many familiar names. So thank you so much for those of you guys who are here live. For those of you guys who are watching this in the past, or are you watching it in the future? How weird is that, man? My mind is boggled. So if you're in the Bobby, it's okay. He's freaking out about my sudden energy because I've just been collapsed in a pile on the sofa for the last 2 hours. If you're watching this not live, then you're watching it in the future, but you're also in the past, because this is the past. My mind is blown. Bobby, where are you going? Great, now he needs a wee. I might have to let him outside. Bob! Dogs. Oh, he's there. Come here. If you sit on my lap, then we must be safe, surely. Ugh, come and say hi. You want to come and say hi to everybody? You say, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, dear, he has a tick in his armpit. I will have to get that out in a minute. Is anybody else struggling with the tick situation at the moment? It is not the best thing ever. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep this on point because I have a slight time cap today. So we're going to go to the hour, basically. So it'll be 7 o'clock here. So first of all, Patreon. I want to say a new, fresh thank you to every single one of you guys for being a Patreon, for being a member of our community. So as you know, January 2020, I set up a Patreon account. Patreon was nothing specific to me. It wasn't like, oh, Patreon, I'm going to do that. It was a platform that I could utilize to create a community. That was the purpose, to create a safe, supportive online space and to find an additional way to support the work that we're doing here with Wild. You want to go wee-wees? You go outside? Go for a wee? He doesn't know what he wants. That has very much been achieved. So we're sitting around 280 patrons who are consistent members. It fluctuates up and down. I sort of dread the 5th of the month because that's when it all like renews, I think. So I don't allow myself to look at Patreon between the 1st and the 5th because it's not that it really matters, but I hate saying goodbye to people. I find it very sad. Completely understandable. You know, people have to come and go, but it's it's always just a bit like, and breathe, because it's a very fine line. Hang on. The point of Patreon is safe, supportive, inspirational online space to support the work of Wild from a financial point of view and from an input point of view. So I really wanted to create this space so that I could actually touch base with you guys. So it's as much for you as it is for me. My hard drives are being daft. Bear with me. Eject, eject, eject. There we go. Happy days. Everybody leave me alone now. All right. Sorry. My laptop has done really weird things. I don't know about you guys. Does anyone have a newer laptop? Because I recently... I have to let Bobby out. I'm sorry. Bear with me for 1 second. Actually, it's probably a minute. Bob, you are the most daft being to ever exist. Me? No, Bobby. Right. Just leave the door open. The joy of farm living. Sorry, guys. So he at least he's weeing outside, right? So where was I? Yes. So I wanted to create Wild so that I could bounce ideas backwards and forwards between you guys and myself, because Wild is limited by me. Like I am simply me. I am nothing else. I think from my mind, I see the world through my lens. And in order for Wild to grow bigger and for new horizons to be accessed, I need input from other people, and I welcome that. And this is an opportunity for me to share this big project. As I say, many of the patrons know about that. But, you know, I feel like Patreon itself, it's very limiting for me. The actual company, the site, if that makes sense. For those of the who are in the higher tier and have done live sessions before, you know that we have had conversations about actually developing an app, and basically being able to move this off of Facebook, off of Patreon, and put it into a whole new place that we can have. That means people don't have to be on social media. We don't have to have the silly Patreon fees and all that jazz. But an app development is not going to be a cheap thing. And also, I don't have half a second to do that. I mean, maybe if I didn't sleep and I put my like 6-7 hours of bedtime into app building, that could work. I mean, you know. But as somebody who is an advocate for well-being, I don't think that's the best thing that I can do. And I do quite like sleep because it's actually an opportunity for me to escape the carnage that is this. But I feel like I'm very all over the place, and I'm trying to keep this structured because of the time. So there are so many things that I would love to chat with you guys about. There's so many places that I would like to steer Wild to. You know, we've talked about an ambassador scheme. We talked about a mentorship scheme. We talked about the app. We've talked about, you know, a Patreon gathering, having that next year. In fact, we've even allocated the dates for that. There's yada, yada, yada. There's so many different things, and it's really very exciting. But Patreon, as I say, is limiting for me. That's where I was going with this, in the sense that I find it very clunky. It's not very intuitive. The app basically doesn't work on my phone. If I want to make a video, I actually have to upload it to YouTube and then paste the link onto Patreon, which is just very frustrating. I don't want to just put things onto the Facebook group because not everybody is in the Facebook group, and that's absolutely fine. So that's why I've decided to do this live session. Jeez, it's taken me like 9 minutes to get to this point. But okay, let's go for this. I need your wholehearted attention, as much as you can give it without the things burning over there, Mark. So the first conversation I had about a bigger expedition with those of you guys in the higher tiers during the live sessions was about Greenland. So I was planning to ski solo and unsupported across Greenland. It's 25 days, it's 600, I don't know how many miles it is, but it gets down to like -50 wind chill. It's a proper polar expedition. It's something I've always wanted to do. I know that I'm fully capable of that. But whilst I was due to do that in spring of next year, April, May, I've decided to push it back to spring of 2023. Why, you may ask? Well, because something else has taken up a lot of my time. Now, many of you guys might have seen through Instagram and Facebook stories. If you're not familiar with stories, but you are on social media, when you see my image pop up, spend more time in the wild, and it's got a ring around it, I think it's like pinky purpley. If you click that, it will have a story. The stories last for 24 hours. They're basically a short video or a picture with a link or something. And basically it's a updated, like it's a live feed almost. Christine is actually asking a really good question. I'm just going to come back to that. So, Christine, the why with Greenland, that's a good question. I know that might be a sarcastic question, but I need to share the why. The why is to use Greenland as a physical metaphor for what it's like dealing with mental and physical pain. Greenland and the film that we would shoot in relation to Greenland, plus the Southern microfilms that we would do in addition, was going to be the platform through which I could tell my story in a way that it's never been told before. My story hasn't been told. There's drips and drabs, like arguably Wild is my story. But a polar expedition is something I've wanted to do for as long as I can remember. As a kid, I grew up reading polar expedition books and dreaming about the Arctic and the Antarctic more specifically. And the South Pole became my goal. But I really struggled to rationalize with myself funding a South Pole expedition, because you're looking at like 70 grand plus everything else. And that's so much money. And is that really where I want my time and energy to go into? Is that really what I need to do to have the impact to create the meaningful change within communities around the world that I want to inspire? Like, I don't think I have to get to the South Pole to do that. And Greenland, looking north, is not a million miles away. And I could actually get to Greenland in a very environmentally sensitive way. And of course, it's completely self-powered skiing across Greenland. And essentially, the project is all good to go. I've got a company that I'm working with. There would still need to be a chunk of money raised, still need to be the kit, still needs to be training. And in fact, there might even need to be harness modifications because of my back injury. So that's just Greenland. So we're just going to park Greenland now, because Greenland is second of half of next year and 2023. So Greenland, thank you very much for your attention. So coming forwards, or back, geez, I'm struggling with time today. The reason why we're pushing Greenland back is because there is another expedition which is taking up all of my time. And you have seen through the stories, that's where we were, that I've been doing a lot of cycling. Cycling is happening because I'm going to be doing a lot more cycling later this year. So basically on the 30th of August, in fact, the 28th of August, I'm going to be heading up north to Scotland. On the 30th of August, I'm then going to start my journey south. I am going to be doing JOGLE. So for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with that phrase, JOGLE, J-O-G-L-E, stands for John O'Groats to Land's End. So John O'Groats is a point in the north of Scotland. It's a significant point in the fact that everybody's made it significant. It's actually not the most northern point, but it's a popular place. Land's End is also not the southernmost point of the country, but it is definitely, it's the point on the southwest peninsula, Cornwall. Most people cycle that in 9 to 11 days. However, I am doing JOGLE with a twist, a 2,000-mile twist. I'm going to be cycling JOGLE via each of the UK's national parks. The route looks something like this. At each national park, I'm going to get off and I'm going to climb to the highest point, whether that is a Benmore, whether that's Scafell Pike, whether that's Snowdon, whether that's Dunkery Beacon, or High Wheelhays and Dartmoor. Stay there, ukulele. I'm going to be getting off, hiking to the highest point, walk back down, and then get back on the bike. Hoping to do school talks along the way. Anna will hopefully be following a van, and it's going to take 50 days. 50. That's not 1, 5. That is 50. The 0 does count. So this is no minor expedition. And the reason why I wanted to reach out to you guys is because I've not yet gone public with this. This, I want to stress, anything that happens within Patreon stays in Patreon. This is certified knowledge. Is that the right word? I want to throw everything at you right now. And this is what I mean by I need your attention. because I am in a whirlwind of stuff. Like, I have pushed things to the absolute limit of what I can sort of do without Anna here. It's been very hit and miss as to whether she's going to be involved in not, and that has been really tricky to know whether it's going ahead or not, because the truth is I need her, I want her. It probably sounds like oversharing. For the project, please. For those of you guys who have asked how she is, she's okay. It's been a really rough ride, let's just put it. This month and a half has been testing and hard, and she hasn't gone away on a holiday. As many of you guys know, it's been a complicated family stuff situation. It's been messy, and I know that there's going to be a bit of a wall hit when she gets back, and that's absolutely okay. We're creating space for that. So thank you for asking. Coming back to Joggle. So basically, we're at the stage now where there's 2 months to go. What? So yeah, 2 months, and I'm cycling as much as I can. I'm going to be averaging on the trip about, I think it's 60 to 80 miles. The elevation, let's just not talk about that. But one of the patrons is somebody I've been working very closely, and he's actually closely with, and he's working as project manager. Honestly, he's an absolute saint. He's making the project happen, which is the best thing ever. Also, the sunburn is finally healing. So we're at the stage now where the itinerary is pretty much set. We're struggling a little bit with contacting schools. They're proving kind of difficult to pin down, even though we're like, hello, we want to come and give a talk and do nice things. I can't phrase this in a good way anymore. Give a talk. So we've got a couple of schools that are keen, and we might end up just stripping it back to 2 or 3 schools. We were going to have 10, but that's that. They're keen, and that's awesome. And then basically the cycle will go on, and hopefully, you know, Anna will follow in a van. Park that. Anna will follow in a van. Then at the walks, anybody is welcome to join the walks. The national parks are involved. They're going to be supplying an education officer who hopefully will come on the walks. And the goal is that the walks are open to anybody. So you guys could go, where's my nearest national park? And you go, okay, it's the Brecon Beacons. Then you look on our website once it's up and running, and you can go, oh, she's going to be in the Brecon Beacons on the 19th of September, and she's going to be doing Penny Fan on the 19th of September. Car park start time 8:30. Be there, done. So it's all going to be online, all accessible. There'll be a tracker. There will be the rolling dates. So we have our itinerary. We will put the dates and the walks all up on there. It's not going to be a booking system. It's just to turn up. We're still working on the legal side of things, because we want to make sure that basically whoever comes is solely responsible for themselves. We can't start faffing with book this and that and all the legal side. That's just too messy. So people will have to sign a little waiver thing, and that's that. Because otherwise, you know, the slowest person, the whole thing could be held back by that, and it is a speedy trip. So that's just something that we're working out at the moment. Jeez, sorry, too much of this stuff today. Kombucha. Also, this is supposed to be like 4 portions. Yes, it is, but no, 1 bottle, 1 portion. So that's the cycling, the walks, the school talks. Then, of course, the whole thing is going to be filmed. So basically, the filming is going to be really tricky, in a sense that I'm going to be filming as much as I can. But when you're on a bike, I am going to reach levels of fatigue I have dreamed of reaching that I never knew were possible. I'm really excited about that. I am excited of pushing myself finally to my physical limits. Let's just not talk about pain. That's going to be cool. But capturing all of that, sort of helping Anna get involved with the filmmaking, and additionally bringing in another filmmaker. Now, we can't afford to bring in a filmmaker for 50 days. That's just ridiculous. We're sort of loosely working on the story now. Well, I am. I say we, like it is me. Me, myself, and I, until Anna is back and grounded and decides that she wants to be involved. So loosely working on the story now. And basically, I'm trying to work on the budget. Now, this is the scary part, okay? Just bear with me, and don't bite your tongue. So basically, looking at the budget, it's going to cost around 15K in pounds. Because if you budget for fuel, the biggest expenses are fuel, okay? Anna needing an income, like it's minuscule, but it's an income. Me needing some kind of an income, which is small, one of the smaller income, smaller figures. So fuel incomes for 2 people, paying for a filmmaker for around 15 days, food if we're budgeting around £30 a day, accommodation if we're budgeting around £25 for a campsite with a van for like 40 days, 5 days of B&Bs we might allow ourselves at like £50. What else is there? Just ad hoc bike stuff that might need to happen. Yada, yada, yada. It builds up. Never mind the editing costs, like all of the post-production is out the window. So it very, very quickly adds up because most things end up being a 4-digit number. Because it's 50 days. This isn't just let's go walk the South Downs way, you know. So I'm at the point now where basically, well, there's a lot of things going on right now. So let me just run through the things that are going on and then I'll break those down with you. So the first thing is the van. We're still working out, because I just need to sit down with Anna and talk about it, what type of van we're looking for and how that's going to work. Is it going to be an actual van where just all the spare bike stuff and everything is in there and then we just camp at campsites and stay at Patreon's, people's, whatever it ends up being? Is it going to be a camper van, like a little VW thing that we can stay in just in case? Or is it going to be an actual camper van that we can stay in? And that's actually what we end up stopping on the side of the road in to save accommodation costs. Where are we going to get that van from? We are just at the cusp of contacting, it's me. I'm just at the cusp of trying to find some like camper van hire companies to see whether they might loan us one for the trip in exchange for obviously publicity. So that's kind of that's the van side. Next side is Laura, hold that thought. Stay here. Also, I'm pointing that way. Is your chat feed this way? Because it's here for me. Next thing is the filmmaker. Now, I have a friend who does some filming and he can come and help with the launch and that sort of thing. But the reality is he's jammed because his things is weddings. And as you can imagine, we're doing this in the summer. He's doing the weddings in the summer. So that doesn't really work. So I'm going to need 2 or 3 filmmakers to come on board, ideally with drone licenses, ideally where we can have a standardized quality of media production, ideally same camera kit, even if they're just using ours. Ideally, we actually get on with them because the way we're envisioning this is whoever comes on board to film is going to be doing sort of 3-4 day stints with us. But the more money we can raise, the more we can afford somebody else to come on board, the more Anna can actually do the things. So basically, to give you a rundown, so that's the filmmaker. Anna, what she's going to be doing is following along in a van, not necessarily like completely behind me because my average is like 10 miles an hour. But, you know, basically having all the spares, being on call, that sort of thing. She'll be doing all the marketing and media, social media posts, live sessions, keeping Riled up and running whilst we're actually away because it's 2 months. All sorts of different things. She's going to be basically doing what I do day to day, hence why she needs to be paid for that, because she's paid for the work she does for Wild. This is work for Wild. So just clarifying that. So sorting all of that out. Fourth thing that I'm in the process, I'm trying to own what I'm actually spending my life doing. I'm in the process of doing is sponsors. So sponsors is tricky. So let me give you a little rundown. We've just had COVID-19. Most companies are flipping struggling. So obviously I'm not expecting a sponsor to just be like, boom, here's 15 grand. That's not how it works. But essentially, I am approaching all sorts of different companies for, you know, see if I can get a bike company on board, because that would be awesome. You know, there is so much in this project. And basically, I'm really hoping from a marketing front that, yes, it's going to be insane because we have 2 months to do this. But then once we're up and running, once we reach the 30th of August and the cycling is on we go, then we're going to hashtag, and hopefully get hit up by the One Show, BBC News, ITV News, Channel 4 News. Like, that is my goal with this. This is not a small thing. I want this to go big. I am envisioning this to go big, and I know that it can go big if we do this in the right way. And that's why the work has to happen now. And that's why there is no day off. Not that I do days off, but there is no day off. Thank you for the question. That's basically where I'm up to with the sponsorship thing. But as I said, so most companies have either allocated their sponsorship funds for this year. It's 2-month turnaround, and we've just coming out of a COVID crisis. So it's really not the best time to be asking for money. What am I offering sponsors? In case any of you guys know any companies and you want to be like, hello, maybe you should talk to this lass. Basically, the primary sponsor we're envisioning buys out a name in the title. More on that in a minute. Please don't let me forget. So the working title we've got at the moment is Abbie Bikes Britain, fueled, sponsored, powered, / by XYZ. So they'll buy out a name in the title. Obviously, I'll be all brand covered. I am not normally a supporter of sponsorship for myself. That's just not how we want to work with Wild. Greenland is going to be completely public funded. That's a different conversation. But this trip is different because this trip is so get it off the ground as quickly as possible. I'm kind of trying to go down that route. And if we can get at least 50% of the funding through a corporate sponsor, bracket S, close bracket, sponsors, that would be amazing. I'm going to run over my time here. Let's just go with this. Then yeah, so basically if we can get 7, 8, 9, 10 grand from corporate sponsors, then that's amazing. So I'm approaching companies like Komoot, Hiker, like different cycling brands, although they prove really hard to pin down. All sorts of different companies, and it starts with an email, and then next week or whatever, it's going to be a case of phone calls. You know, I already work with Terra Nova and Cicero, and I've got meetings with them next week to see if they might get involved. So, and then additionally, I am thinking about bringing in a mental health charity. That's helpful. But I want to be completely transparent with you. This would not go to public news. Let's just put it this way. But I want to be transparent with you. I have struggled a lot with UK mental health charities. Now, I know they do a lot of good because I know a lot of people have had help from them, in particular Mind. The only one I can speak for that has offered me any support is Mind. I had some free sessions with them. I think I had 8 and then they kicked me out. But, you know, I've been under secondary care in the NHS. I've had a care coordinator. Like, my NHS experience was awful. By this point, since I was 18 years old, I have been under the care of 25 healthcare professionals. And I have reached out to every charity you can think of, from Mind to Rethink Mental Illness to Beats for beating eating disorders. And I've been on the phone, Samaritans, and I have to be honest, my experiences have been very sad. You know, Samaritans in particular, I think what they do is great, but I've rung them so many times and it's really not been a good experience. And so what I'm trying to get at is I believe in what these charities do. I believe they are creating lasting change in the world. I believe they are helping people, but I'm not necessarily looking to do this for charity, because what we're trying to do with Wild is steer it in the direction of becoming a charity. And in order to do that, we actually have to start believing in what we're doing. We actually have to start bringing in funds to support Wild rather than push them out, if that makes sense. So Wild is, yes, it's a YouTube channel. Yes, it's a podcast. Yes, it's a store. But we are hoping that in the future, we're going to steer some of Wild to be a foundation, to be a safe place. I have mentioned, again, to those of you guys who are part of the higher tiers that get these live sessions, my vision with Wild is to have a physical place where people can come and they can be and they can stay. We have a program, almost like a rehab program, where people can really dive into their mental health and dive into different aspects of connection and ways that they can be retrained and find new passions, that they can connect with people, that there's going to be, you know, hands in the ground, feet on the earth, connect with the animals, be able to just be free and be themselves, because there's a whole new community. Why do I want to create this? Because it's what I've dreamed of ever since I've struggled with my mental health. I have had nowhere to go. I've essentially been homeless in a sense that I've had nowhere to belong. And I want to create a place of belonging where everybody is welcome, where there's nothing but warmth and love and acceptance, no matter how much you're struggling, no matter how big your scars, no matter how hidden and tucked away your pain, there is a place for you. And that is my vision with Wild and JOGLE and Greenland. And every video I put up on YouTube is a step towards that. Every subscriber I get is a step towards that. And the truth is, in order to do that, there has to be a financial income for Wild. It's not just going into my pocket. That's not how I work. I have a Wild account. That's our savings account. And that is going towards every future step that we can possibly take with Wild. I want to be open and honest and transparent with you. And this is me doing this now. This is what it looks like. I I have so much passion, and I want us to also move towards the stewardship side of things. I want us to be contributing towards environmental conservation, because this is where we came from. This is where Wild started. Was in environmental conservation. It's like, I want to help people get outside to create lasting memories, so that they want to protect that landscape for future generations to come. That was my initial mission statement for Songfresh Productions, which was the first thing I started with. I wanted to do a production company. And then it's like, I realized, like, no, this isn't just about shooting films. This is about being on the ground. This is about being hands-on. This is like giving proper hugs. This is about, yes, it's the planting tree things, but it's an attitude. It's how we live. It's how we breathe. It's how we think. It's how we talk. It's everything that we do. That is what it means when I say stay wild. Like, that is what I mean. And this is what I want to try and communicate with these bigger projects. This is what I mean by rising up as a nation. So JOGLE might be UK based, but there is a message here that we can carry into every country that we live in, every country that our friends and families live in, everywhere that we have connections. It's a heart. It's a way of living. And so coming back to JOGLE, I have 2 months. More and more my training has to up. You're going to be seeing more stories of me doing more cycling. I'm at about 30 miles as my longest so far. And, every week I'm going to add on 5 to my longest. The next week's a 35, week after's a 40. And so on, trying to just build that up, because I can't burn myself out. But say I'm averaging 10 miles an hour, 30, 40, 50 mile cycle is 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Bearing in mind the working days are very long, bearing in mind, there's Bobby, bearing in mind there's Wild, like JOGLE is the full-time thing. There's 2 months and there's 15K to raise. So basically, I wanted to put it to you. This is what I want to ask from you. And I'll put this in bullet points when I share this again on Patreon, so that people who can't watch this live will rewatch this, hopefully, and get to this point. I'm looking to create an engagement campaign. In order to do that, I need a title. So at the moment, our working title is Abbie Bikes Britain. It's decent. It actually works. It says the name is on the tin, but somehow I want to try and bring in Wild. Now, if I can't get a corporate sponsorship, regardless of whether I get a corporate sponsor, I'm going to open this to the public. I'm going to create a GoFundMe campaign, because I don't know any other way to do it. I don't want to do Kickstarter, because I really don't have the time to start thinking about how can I give more back to the community when we're at our absolute max of what we can put out in return for finances, if that makes sense. And plus, I want to keep that to you guys. You guys get the good stuff. That's just that. So basically, if I can't get a primary sponsor, I'm trying not to look at the side here, because I need to keep my thoughts in line. Then this will be publicly funded. We'll get as much finances as we can from the individual, from the community. And that's how it's going to work with Greenland. I'm a big believer in community. I'm a big believer in bottom up. I'm a big believer that you don't have to put on a fancy suit and suck up to some very rich person and ask for money, because there is enough money going around if we just open our hearts and we believe and we care and we share. £1, €1, $1 makes a flipping huge difference. And I am as grateful for that as I am with something with many more zeros on the end. That's just that. So if it doesn't end up being supported by a sponsor, then it'll be Abbie Bikes Britain, powered by Spend More Time in the Wild. And that's how we're going to get the brand in. But basically, I wanted to put it to you to ask for your thoughts about a title, to ask for your thoughts about a name. It has to be short. It has to be snappy. It could be abbreviated. It needs to say what we're doing. It needs to be fun. It needs to be something that perks people's ears up, because this is what we want to get the nation curious about. So the first thing is thinking about a title, okay? And then I'm working on a mission statement, trying to simplify that, because it's taken me 35 minutes to tell you what's going on. Working on a mission statement, we'll couple with the title. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to pick your brains about the fundraising side of things. So corporate, I just have to crack on with that. I have to send the emails. I have to pick up the phone. Hate that bit. But then buddy, you're so hungry for his din-dins. It's quite late for his din-dins. When it comes to the public fundraising, I was thinking something about trying to do a YouTube campaign. Imagine if I had £1 from every YouTuber who subscribes to my channel. That's 40K. That would cover this and more for Wild. But unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. If I could say, okay, I'm going to create an engagement campaign on YouTube where I'm looking for finances and visibility, and I ask for sort of £2 or £5 per subscriber, that's going to add up quite quickly. But what I really struggle with the online platform is marketing. As soon as you put key phrases in there, as soon as you put a link in any post on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, they instantly drop it, and it's not reached by very many people. It's just how it is. It's how the algorithms work. So I need to play around that somehow, and figure out how, in such a short period of time, we can get some money in a pot that's going to help us start this thing. Now, I'm not expecting to start this trip with the full 15K, and 50K is an estimate. As I say, that does not include post-production or anything like that. Editing is probably going to be another big number because I'm not going to edit this trip. Like I have to run a business. I can't just sit and edit this. And I've actually brought someone in to start the initial leg of editing at the moment. Yeah, because it's all just getting too much right now. Wild is getting bigger than my boots. Let's just put it that way. So figuring out how to raise this money. But if we can start with like 8, 9, 10 grand in the bank, then the rest can be raised along the way through donations, you know. Obviously, we need to think about this marketing campaign, sort of having that hashtag. What can we get trending? Then we'll have days in particular where we push it out there at the same time, on the same day around the world. And hopefully that's going to get media outlets interested. Million Miles for Mines was awesome. You guys know how quickly I burnt out with that. A week. It took me a week. I wasn't in a very good place, but the truth is I'm concerned about my mental health at the moment. But this is giving me a real get up and go. This is exciting me, and it's giving me a lot of energy, even though it's draining a lot of energy. And I have to watch that, which is why I'm putting it out to you, because all of the creativity can't just come from here all the time. I'm trying to learn how to switch this thing off, and I'd love for you guys to input your creative space, thoughts, ideas. So there's the title, there's fundraising ideas. Then there's things like then there's companies, podcast people, charities, anybody of any size that you know might be interested. Either you contact them or you let me know how to contact them with an email, what they do, and a website link. And I will get on chasing them and just be like, hello, I thought you might be interested in knowing. Because even if we can't get financial support from a company or a charity or whatever, if they are willing to just partner and share what we're doing across their social media platforms, that is going to help this get bigger very quickly. So that's the sort of attitude I'm going in with this. What I don't want is a bazillion free cereal bars, because that would be a bit sad. But then I do need the food. Dried mango, on the other hand, I might just consider that. The final thing is actual practicalities. So first of all, if you know anyone who might have a van that we could use, or a van hire company that we could approach, anybody who might own one. Like I know that through someone, somehow, I ended up getting in touch with someone who owned Jeep or something. No, I don't think I owned it. He owned a car garage, basically. So I know that people know people. So van, camper van type situation. Second thing is filmmaker. Anyone who might have some filmmaking expertise, like actually be a filmmaker, a freelance filmmaker with a drone license and can invoice me kind of situation. I would love to have a chat with them. Ideally, they're not like BBC, because I don't think I'm going to be able to afford them. The next thing is, what is the next thing? All the notes, man, all the notes. Yes, podcast people. Anyone who you think you would like to see me get onto their podcast, any podcast that you listen to about health, lifestyle, well-being, the outdoors, whatever, like let me know. I can approach them, or you recommend them to me. Next thing, magazines, newspapers, radio channels, anybody that you guys know that you could get in touch with and be like, hey, have you seen what this lass is doing? Because that's going to really, really, really help. They listen to you much more than they listen to me. Most of the media contacts I have had have come from you guys. Oh, hey, we've been pointed in the direction of you because a number of our followers or readers or listeners have flagged what you're doing. We'd really like to know more. Like, that makes such a massive difference. You guys can make such a massive difference to what we're trying to do here with JOGLE and with Wild in itself. I think those are the main things, to be fair. I don't want to overload you. I think I've already overloaded you. But basically, that's where we're at. So my next steps are continue emailing and sorting connections to sort out a GoFundMe campaign. We've got a meeting on the 1st, which is going to hopefully get some marketing materials and pictures and yada yada, stuff like that. Ideally, I'm going to get a little bit of the money bank in the bank ASAP, because I cannot ride Joggle on the bike that I currently have. It's a great bike, but I don't think it's going to hold up to 50 days. So I need to get a new bike ASAP, even if that means I have to buy one. That's going to be a 4-digit number very quickly. Yeah, those are the main things. And you know, word of mouth is powerful. Word of mouth matters. As I say, this is private in a sense that I've not gone public yet. But basically, you talk to people, you know, just and you can share things on your Facebook page. And then if you can talk one-to-one, that's great. Or just say what's happening. Just don't say who's doing it yet, or whatever. You work out your own way. I don't want to tell you what to do. You guys are creative people. I know that you can do this. That would be very helpful. So I'm just going to go through your comments because I need to give my brain a little bit of a break. I just want to check that I know I've missed quite a few questions. So bear with. Is my internet holding? Yes, it is. Good. Gonna need a few different pairs of cycling pants. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the offers for the walks, guys. Basically, once you know the walk dates, if you're near a national park, I would really love you to come. It would be amazing. Bicycling stores, Christina's suggesting, absolutely. If you know a cycling store in your local town, go in and talk to them. Give them a piece of paper with things written down on it, so that they can go in. Stay there, find out. Sorry, I was reading something. They can go and have a look at what we're doing and hopefully get in touch. That would be amazing. The key thing is don't wait. There is no time to wait anymore. Like, every day counts. And pretty soon I'm not going to be able to say there's 2 months to go. It's going to be a month and a half. So the sooner I can get some gear coming this way, the sooner I can get some cash flow coming this way, that would be amazing. Try UK and Taunton. I have not. Where's my pen? I don't know where my pen is. Rachel, can you remind me of that? Why don't I have a pen? What is wrong with me? Where is my pen? Never mind. Mental Health Day, World Mental Health Day. That's very significant. By the 10th of October, I'll probably still be on the bike, so that's going to be fun. Heads together, exactly. I found it really hard. Like, for Million Miles for Minds, I reached out to all of these charities and organizations. They didn't want to be involved because they were worried it would clash with other mental health charities. And the truth is, mental health charities and charities as a whole, they usually have a business plan. That's how it works. They need to make money. And the truth is, they're going to make decisions on what's going to make them the most money and what's going to help them get bigger than the other mental health charities. And it flipping winds me up, quite frankly. So yeah. Mike, yes, you can donate directly through the project. You can't at the moment, but to be fair, if you guys just want to start donating because you want to, if you go onto the website, spendmoretimeinthewild.co.uk, there's a donate button on Wild. If you scroll down, you'll see how to get involved. There's donate. If you do that, it goes through Patreon. So you can do that, but it's annoying because Patreon take a massive cut. So if you would like to actually donate today, because you can, then donate friends and family on Patreon, because that's going to come across without them taking some money. I'll put all the detail of that into the message if you'd like to do that. I'm going to create, obviously, a JOGLE account because that needs to be separate. Then that's going to become a Greenland account as soon as it becomes Greenland. And what I'll do is, if you guys have donated through Patreon, then I will I'll transfer that money straight away into there. And actually, to be fair, that'll be kind of cool. I think actually I'm, you know me, I'm led by heart and passion and intuition. That feels good. Can I just say, Mike, that feels good. Like, perhaps just getting a little bit of money in an account that's open, that's going to help it feel much more real. Because can I be completely honest with you? Yesterday, I wasn't sure if this was going to happen. There's so much to pull off in such a short period of time. Just focusing on the training alone is all consuming. You know what it's like dealing with mental health. You know what it's like when you can't get yourself out of bed. You know what it's like when there's so much to do that there's almost nothing to do, because it's just like, what do I do here? That's where I'm at the moment. it's really, really hard pushing through. I like the training, but it's really hard. You know that I struggle with chronic pain. My back has been awful. Like, I've just had a solid migraine for the last 24 hours and I've still got up and functioned because I have to. So on the 1st, we're going to be having a team meeting just to be sure that this is the right idea. But I'm not ready or prepared to push this trip back. I've pushed Greenland back, but I don't want to push this one back. Now more than ever, there needs to be meaningful conversations about mental health. So even if this trip takes me 60 days, it takes me 90 days, even if I push it back by 10 days, not that I want to do that, I don't want to change the start date, then that's what it's going to take. So be it. But it's very overwhelming. And I fluctuate hugely between being excited and ecstatic and terrified out of my mind. I can't push JOGLE back because this is what's giving me life right now. This is what's giving me meaning and purpose. And as soon as I think about pushing it back, I don't know what's going to fill that time. I'm going to say something that might sound sad and you'll probably be like, you'll be all right. But I can't backpack at the moment. I cannot carry a pack. Like, I did my Angletarn camp on my birthday, which was a very good experience, but the pain was just so severe. I cannot carry a backpack. So backpacking is out of the picture for me at the moment. Cycling has given me a new lease of life. And other than today and yesterday, where I've been in so much pain, I managed to do a little 10-miler today, but my lower back is definitely complaining. And as you know, when I traveled up to Scotland a month ago, it seized up and I couldn't walk for like 2 days. Basically, JOGLE has to happen, even if how it happens has to change somewhat. The purpose and the mission can stay the same, even if it takes longer. So just sharing that with you. So maybe actually I really should set up some kind of way that you can start to financially support now, and then maybe that will make it feel a little bit real. JOGLE will happen. This is going to happen. This will happen. I'm a big believer in the power of speech. All right, I'm jumping. Sorry, I'll speed up because I know that people have got things to do. Can you give us a statement of what you're doing that we can use to approach people with? Yes, I need to do that. And I'm gonna, but that's why the sooner we have a name, the sooner it makes it feel more real. But really, I'll give you a very loose breakdown when it comes to writing this up on Abbie Joggles Britain. That's quite cool. On Patreon. So keep going. Bear with. As I say, if you can contact people, it makes a very big difference. Laura, I'd really like to talk to you about post-production. Genuinely, that would be very, very helpful. A JOGLE PayPal account. I could do a PayPal account. What I'm concerned about, the thing I have to think about as well, guys, is the thing with bank accounts in general is if I have international currencies in, they also take a cut, and it's kind of frustrating. Steph, you've also mentioned something there. Physio, that's another cost that I haven't put into the budget. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to need to see osteopaths, physio people along the way. Like, I have to see them pretty much weekly at the moment anyway. Well, not weekly because I can't afford that. Every month or so. Hopefully Anna can get trained up in some kind of massage, just punch me in the back. But basically, yeah, it's going to be tricky getting therapy for my back. I would love to have a physio who could be involved, but again, it's 50 days, and who can suddenly drop life for 50 days with 2 months notice? And also, how do I find that person? So again, the more you guys can talk to people, even if it's a physio who can be involved for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 10 days, that would be awesome. Second thing also is that, as we, sorry, Mike, I just saw your message. Hang on. As we, what was I going with that? Bear with me. Oh, once the itinerary starts to go public and stuff, I really would love to invite those of you guys in the UK to be as involved as you want. Like, the cycling time, I know is going to be very much probably me by myself because it needs to for filming sake of things. But also, if people are coming out for 3, 4, 5 miles, like, why not? And on the walks especially, that's where I'm really hoping the community is gonna really kick off. So I know that the sooner I get those dates out to you, the better. I also know that many of you guys have asked about our actual wild walks. So these are supposed to start in August, and I think you might be just about starting to get the gist of why I haven't been able to prioritize getting those up and running, because A, it's just complicated with COVID, but B, running Wild in all of its stuff and sorting this out and Greenland and being a human being with a life and a relationship and a family and there isn't enough time. I will get there, but these are going to be the substitute. And hopefully, you know, if people come, we can ask them to just donate a 5 or a 10 or 15 quid. That's going to make a difference. So I really need a pen, don't I? Why don't I have a pen? Pen. Oh, that's not a pen. Hang on, stay there. Don't move. Okay, I'll use a pencil. So my action plans, this is like a proper meeting, isn't it? Is to do a Patreon post, which I will try and do after this, but I really should do it after this. So following up from this session, and sharing key to-dos and like a mission statement type of thing, so that you can talk to people. So your to-dos are title ideas, contact everybody everywhere, van, filmmaker, what else did I say? Fundraising ideas, that sort of thing. So then my next to-do list, I'm saying this out loud so that if there's anything I'm missing, you guys can be like, oh, do this, don't forget, is to set up, are we thinking, well, basically I need to set up some kind of financial thing. I suppose I can set up a JOGLE PayPal account, but I need an email for that, right? I need to look into that. But basically, okay, JOGLE PayPal account. Good. And then probably also an actual account so that we have a card that we can tangibly pay for things. What else is my action plan from you guys? Because you've said some really good things. Yes, you can set up a monthly donation. As I say, so just to reinforce what the deal is with PayPal, if you go through Wild and you hit that PayPal donate button, they are going to take a cut, and you're absolutely fine with that because you can set up as like a standing order. However, if you want to do it manually and say you wanted to donate £5 every month, rather than me getting like £4.50, £3, whatever it ends up being, if you do a friends and family transfer, then that'll come through as actually £5, and that'll make a difference because that saves us however much we lose. So there's just a thought there. I'm going to have to look into the PayPal thing because I don't know much about, can we pay direct into a Wild account? Yes, if you want to pay direct into an account, if you're UK based, if you can message me directly, I will send you account details so that you can donate directly into our current Wild account, and then I'll transfer that as soon as possible into a JOGLE account once that's up and running, if that makes sense. With PayPal, you need to watch out as a sudden. Okay, thank you for that information. That's really actually very helpful. I also, as I say, I need to figure out how to get one up and running. So I just want to stress, if you're outside of the UK, we just need to think a little bit harder about how to get the money across without there being a big tax, or not tax, it's not tax, is it? But a big cut, because they're like, ooh, this is international money. Let's have some fun here and take some more of it. Yeah, so I think that's it for now, guys. I have successfully managed to do an hour session without falling apart, which is unusual. I know that Sham's the money one. I know that we're going to talk and she's going to give me a hand. Cool. So I'm going to start to wrap this up now. I feel like there's a lot of brain things. Basically, I need to do some thoughts about the finances ASAP, and like everything is ASAP. I cannot stress there is no time. Like in a month's time, there needs to be money in account. There needs to be, this is going ahead. We have a van. We know where we're going. We know how many days this is going to take. We know who's our backup people. You know, I need to be up to quite comfortably 50, 60 miles on the bike, 3, 4, 5 times a week. There's so much to do for Wild, as you can imagine, because we're going to be off-site for 2 months. So we have to try and get all of those YouTube videos done, season 3 of the podcast done, Abbie and Anna show, just by the way, we are going to get that back up and running. We've had a discussion and we are going to we've already brainstormed some ideas. So that's going to be up and running. And actually, coming full circle, what I wanted to start the conversation with is an apology, is a sincere apology. I have not been as active on Patreon recently as I would like. I've been so consumed. I have been a flipping blubbering mess. If you were a fly on the wall in this house, you'd be quite disturbed because it's been such a hard few months, and it is a few months now. It's since before Anna left. And I just like, everything is bigger than I am, and I don't yet have a team. Anna has her own life going on, so she's not able to be very involved. I have somebody else, like I say, literally the last few weeks, who's just started helping me with editing, but it still involves, basically what he does is he cuts down the GoPro, then I still have to go through it all and work with it there. But I really do want to grow this community. I want to give it, like, my dream was for the end of 2021 was to get it consistently to 310 Patreons. That was the goal. And I wanted to tell you how tight everything is. So basically, we did the calculations. It's a complete cut. So what I earned from Wild is it's all used, basically, quite frankly. Like, that's just how it works. So I'm not yet at that tipping point, really, where things go properly into a savings. I will put things in there whenever I can, but I can tell you, many of you guys will know that I missed one YouTube video a couple of weeks ago, and the YouTube revenue for the last 2 months has gone down by 300 quid. That's 50%, quite frankly. If you're interested in knowing, I earn about £600 from YouTube a month. Sometimes if I'm lucky, it goes up to £800. That's what I was living on before. Well, I wasn't even living on that. That's been since pretty much the beginning of this year. Before that, it was averaging about £200-300 a month. So obviously I was working as a personal trainer, of which I was pretty much matching that because I couldn't work and do any more. So I was living on about £400 a month. Now, obviously I've moved out and now I have all these things to pay. So without Patreon, I would be screwed. Like, if I got £800 a month, like, our rent is 750 quid. I'm just being completely transparent. That's how it is. And obviously we split that, but like, this is it. And this is what's exciting, because we're at this point now where, okay, it's very 50-50. We've lost our t-shirt supplier and our printer, but we've just found a new one. In fact, it's Sham. She's been helping a lot with that, helping to just ring people, because I don't have time to do that. There's so much going on, but we are at a real turning point. And I really believe that right now all the work is happening under here. It's happening. The cogs are turning. The conversations are happening. The connections are being made. And Joggle, fingers crossed, will be the firework out into the big wide world. And this is where I'm really hoping that Wild is going to get big quite quickly, where we're going to build the community, where we're going to have ambassadors and people leading walks all around the world, where we can get an app up and running, where we can get a proper physical on the ground place, even if it just starts as a field or a woodland, where people can come and we can do little workshops and stuff. There is so much that I'm dreaming of, and it doesn't all have to happen now, and it doesn't all have to happen overnight, but we're at a turning point and it's exciting. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for me, for Wild, for Anna as well. You've welcomed her so kindly and warmly into the community, and she's a great addition. I can't say she's not. And for Bobby, of course, the hairy bean. This is exciting. This is more than just a YouTube channel. This is hopefully going to really become a way of life for millions of people around the world. That is what I'm believing for, that mental health conversations are normalized, that there is real help out there for people who are struggling, that there are safe places on the ground where people can be heard and seen and held and helped and supported. Yeah. And where we can give back to the environment, where we can actually say thank you through our actions to the places that are saving our lives, that are making our lives, that are keeping us alive. So yeah, this is Wild. This is where we're up to. Geez, does it feel wild? It's a good name for for all this jazz. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for your time this evening. It's been amazing that you stuck by for a whole hour of me jabbering on. I probably overloaded you. If you have any questions, please message me directly on Patreon. I will get a post up. I don't actually think it's going to happen tonight because I need to walk Bobby. That's half an hour, and then it's 8 p.m. Then I have to make food, and I need to sleep soon. But I'll get that up as soon as I can. Anna's coming back tomorrow, which is exciting, but I have to also cycle tomorrow. Accountability. This is why I said on my most recent live session about accountability, use the Facebook group for accountability. Accountability is powerful. If there's something you want to do, but you're just struggling because you need somebody to hold you accountable, put it out there. Guys, I need you to hold me accountable. Check in. Have you cycled today, Abbie? How far are you going to go? What movement have you done? What have you done for JOGLE today? Every day, do it. I'm welcoming it. I might not see it every day on the Facebook group, but that support means so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we should get a tandem. We absolutely should. Anna can go up front. She can pull me along. JOGLE. Enjoy your evening, afternoon, morning, guys, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thank you for being you. You're truly unique. You're truly precious. You guys are my family. I love it. I love seeing your names all pop up. I love knowing who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll speak to you soon. I might do another one of these ad hoc live sessions. This was a great success in my opinion. Take it easy. Look after yourself. And of course, stay wild. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.